Tech
Live
stack.
streaming is on.
Live streaming is on. Okay. All right. So tech stack. Let's see. Backend is PHP Laravel. Right. We host in AWS. We do Elastic Beanstalk in AWS. We have the API that serves the front end client. The web client is really not a functional client. I mean, it's not for functionality. It's just so people can see libre.io, right? There's no product or anything that you can do on there. We have native development on iOS and native Android. Android, we're using Kotlin. iOS, we're using Kotlin and on Android. Okay. Native Android Kotlin, native iOS on Swift. Both of those clients consume the same backend API. We were using EXT.js for the ERP that allows us to look into the backend and make some, updates to the backend. We are moving that now to Vue.js. And so EXT.js was the only proprietary software that we purchased a license for in 2015. The only proprietary, like third-party proprietary software that we were using that's closed. So we're moving now to Vue.js, which is an open source. Let's see what else. We use Intercom for both for the app to do the customer support side, and we also sometimes use it for push notifications. We're moving the push notifications to Firebase so that we can have more control over them. I don't know if that covers it. I mean, other than that, we use, of course, SSL security, SSL encryption.
What do you guys use for a database?
We use Postgres SQL.
Okay. So
is that it?
Yeah, I think so. Do you know of any programming languages that you use? Obviously, JavaScript.
So PHP on the back end?
Yeah.
With the Laravel framework? And then, I mean, of course, we use JavaScript, I assume, for different things.
Yeah.
But it's since the real, I mean, it's a mobile first, mobile only platform. So then the big heavy lifting is done by the front end side, by the iOS native and Android native, which is Swift and Kotlin.
Okay. Cool.
Got what you need?
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome. I imagine Andre will wake up and start answering things too at some point. But that's super helpful because Griff can basically finish that now. Okay, next thing is that we put you as the project lead at 50% time on the team structure diagram.
Sure.
And this is basically just for application purposes. But I guess I just want to, yeah. Okay, cool.
I'm, like, there's crazy people like Elon Musk that are 100% CEO of 7 companies. So,
yeah.
Fine.
Okay. How's the relationship with Antonio Song? Because we're interested in having him help design like wireframes for Giveth 2.0.
He's, I mean, as far as with Alibre, there is none, but with me and between me and him, there is no, I mean, there wasn't any bad
He just
blood.
left. Yeah, he didn't leave in a bad state or
No.
anything.
No. No, I mean I would think he would be excited to work on this. I mean,
Yeah. He always
because
expressed a lot of
he's
excitement
he's
about it.
he's a very how do you say, he'll swing very excited on something and then he'll be totally not, he's so you got to understand that, just
Yeah.
he's 20 years old or 21.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with not going to college, but since he has not had in his life this big experience of committing to something and finishing it, so you just got to be wary of that. So, I mean, so he tends to just get excited about something really deeply, like emotionally invested, right? And then he, if things don't go exactly as are planned in his mind, then he can tend to lose persistence and commitment. So you got to manage that.
Yeah.
In the case of Alibre, he just got sad about the fact that we had to, for a small amount of time, which ended up being only like 8 months, we had to pause the Tanda product.
Yeah.
And focus on a product like Quota that would give us sustainability so that we can go back to Tanda.
Yeah.
And the reason why I had to be disconnected and that we couldn't do much this whole week was that we now had Banco Azteca come to us and say, we want to launch Tanda in partnership to 20 million users that they have. So, we're back on exciting times with that. And so I told him that something like this would happen, and he just got a little bit disheartened.
Yeah.
So,
I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And and he's welcome to come and work on the Giveth project and use the office and stuff. It's fine.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We need your CV in this like special format that they provide.
I assume you guys can just translate that and put it in there, no?
Well, possibly, like if you send your regular CV, it's possible we could.
I'll do this. So
turn it
I
into-
sent my CV to Andre.
Oh, okay.
But I can send you that CV that I sent to Andre, and I can send you a previous CV before that in a different format that's going to have maybe a little bit different information. I mean, it's the same information because it's my CV, but like the other one that I had before used to have like where I did things and between what years and stuff, a little bit more detail sometimes. So if you want between those two, you'll be able to draw up whatever format you need.
I'm always happy to have more information.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me send both of the CV. Let's see. Yeah, this is the one. CV July. This one. Yeah, this one. Okay. Where are you? You are in resume, personal, Google. All right, let's open that. Just send you this quickly. I'm tossing and turning. Resume, Google, personal, resume. Okay. Boom. Someone is tumbling into our house. Kids are watching. All right. So there's the previous CV.
Okay.
Which is 2018. And the new format CV I had sent to, let's see, Andre, I think. I'm Stickman. Okay. Okay. And then we can forward this to Chloe.
Sweet.
Does that work if I forward that document?
Yeah.
Did
It
you get
usually does, yeah.
you get 2 documents already?
No, but I imagine it'll take a second.
Oh no, because I just forwarded you the message and not the document. Hold on.
I didn't get the
Hold on.
message either, so I only got the one resume so far.
Yeah. That's it. Hold on. Downloads. Here we go. Here's the other one. Here's the most recent one. So you'll see they've got dates. So the most recent one is this format that comes out of like LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And then the previous one is a format that I had for many years that I just kind of did it by hand.
Yeah.
And so there'll be a lot more information on the previous one up until a libre, right? And then on the newer one, I add the whole bitty thing that I've been doing.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Next is, okay, so this is a little more meaty question. I want to talk about revenue streams for this specific project.
Yep.
And I will share you the link of the doc we should be in. Telegram.
Yeah.
So basically, there's 2 spots where we talk about revenue streams. One of them is in this doc here, and one of them is in a budget spreadsheet where there's like a company 1-year budget that's actually for the entire like a Libre company and is not just the budget for the project. But this doc I just sent you, like keep in mind the context is that this one is only for this project, this UNICEF project. So we were kind of unsure on like how to approach revenue streams on the quota side. Like obviously the 1.4% transaction fee like it's fine, that's going to be happening, but I know also that you guys have charged like a I think 1,500 USD installation fee for like the apartment complexes, right? But is that the kind of thing that we would be employing for this project? I mean, it feels kind of weird to quote that we would be like charging the charities for that, or I don't know.
No, it's just 1.5 on anything that moves. If nothing moves, if nobody donates anything, then we don't charge Castro Limon anything.
Okay.
And by the way, we're charging the recipient of the donations, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
That's who we're charging. Yeah, because then it's like, it's free money. It's like, you know, we're going to do this. It's not going to cost you anything. And if people donate $100, then you give me $1.50. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
If people donate nothing over the course of a year, it doesn't cost you anything. So Castro Limon, so the children with cancer do not lose anything.
Yeah.
They only have 98.5% to gain.
Okay, so in that case, and by the way, are you in this document? Can you see the?
I'm looking at it, yeah.
Okay, cool. In that case, is there a revenue channel 3, a third, for this project, or are we mainly just looking at these 2, the 3% on Giveth and the 1.5 on Quota?
So, yeah. So, number one, you're using Quota as the name of the product, the product that we'll deliver to Castro Limon is not exactly Quota. It's the Alibre platform, and we have to build a specific thing for them. Okay, so so we can mention Quota because that's sort of like what we have now. It's operating now, and that's kind of like where it's going to come from. We're going to take a lot from there, but we have to build a specific product for. Is
it going to have its own name?
Yeah, we've already. I've brainstormed a few things. We haven't settled on anything, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's no name that already exists.
No.
So basically, quota is the most accurate way we could call it for the application. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's going to have the look and feel of quota, and it's going to consume the same backend. But it's going to be its own app with its own special set of features specifically designed for transparency for the recipient and donating side.
Yeah.
Right? So donors will be able to download it if they want to see more than just the transparency on the blockchain side. If they also want to follow the transparency once it turns into fiat and follow through all the way to the end, they're welcome to download it and they can see that.
Yeah.
So it's 1.5% direct. That's the only direct monetization revenue channel.
Okay.
Right? Other than that, everything else is secondary, indirect, halo effect, network effect things.
So is that like a realistic thing that you can say is that that you'll have customer acquisition to some extent?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I feel like that's an indirect revenue stream, but it is.
But it's not a revenue stream for this project, is it? Or
I mean, there's a tangible value. There's a tangible value that Alibre is getting, which is new users of the Alibre platform.
Yeah.
You know, so the parents of the child with cancer and the friends of the parents who are donating. Because here's the thing, the idea of this, and you remember this, Griff, is that if you have somebody donate $500 in ETH, right? Now that $500 in ETH will be turned into pesos, right? Those pesos are going to be deposited into this this fund that every one of the child's parents and friends can see. Now that's going to create the snowball effect, where then the parents and the friends and family from all over Mexico can donate 10, 30, 50 pesos in fiat, because none of them really have ETH, right? And so it's sort of they all get together to the goal,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's so many things we can do to help. For example, we can say that the Alibre platform will match peso to peso donations for the next 2 days. What does that mean? Maybe it means that there was $100 of ETH that came in, right? That it's on the way processing, right? And so we know it's there. So then we can do like this, like for the next 48 hours, if your family members donate, for every peso you donate, the Alibre platform or the donor, the undisclosed ETH donor, will match 1-to-1.
Mm-hmm.
So we can, so that's what we're going to create in that app. But these users that sign on just to the app that have no ETH, that are donating pesos in Mexico, the community, they are users. There are users. And they will have access to do a tanda, a rasca, alcancía, which is an ASCA, an Accumulated Savings and Credit Association, a cooperacha, which is like this reverse crowdfunding thing between them, etc. So yeah, I mean, there's an intangible, indirect, tangible, indirect value that the Alibre platform that we're getting from doing this.
But that is more. It's more indirect revenue for the company as a whole, right? Rather than indirect revenue for the project. So
well, here's the thing, and here's where UNICEF needs to get. They want to work with a company. I'm not going to run this as a separate company. This is a product that I'm doing for UNICEF. It's my company. It's a private company. I can't be like, oh, that's the project. We're all under one umbrella, right?
Yeah.
So get on it, UNICEF.
I think they'll accept that. I think they'd accept customer acquisition as a revenue stream, and I think that you could even say like positive marketing. That can come out of this, like advertising our name next to Castro Limon is valuable, right? Like
I mean, it's not a monetary value. It's not a monetary stream. It's intangible assets that are worth something, right?
Yeah.
You get free marketing. you get brand value, right?
Yeah.
Brand positioning, free marketing, and they pay Castro Limon and the children's parents pay for our customer acquisition, not out of their pocket, but
Yeah.
by knocking doors around their community and
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, my kid's cancer operation is 70% of the way there to the goal. You know, can you help with look, if you just give 10, 20, 50 pesos, that'll help us get to the goal. And if we get to our local goal, which is maybe just 5,000 pesos locally, it's it's matched by the platform and they double up and we get the 10,000 we need.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, we're gonna do all this gamification things and everything that we need to do to get the local community to really come together in a transparent way. And that's, I mean, and again, we're getting 1.5 of the Ethereum donations, right? Of the local donations in pesos, because it's so um, inefficient, we have to charge 8% on the
Oh,
local
really?
pesos. Yeah, but again, I mean, that's like, oh my God, but you have to understand it's 8% of 100 pesos. It's 8 pesos. You
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
pay for anything with 8 pesos. Well, you pay for the connection, the bank connection to move those 100 pesos, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's just amazing. Like, that's a great stat as to why we need this, right? Like, why we need to be partnered with you guys because it's like that's a massive difference in the percentage.
Yeah, there's some really exciting things that are happening that I'll show you when you guys come. There's something called CODI that was just launched 2 weeks ago by the Central Bank of Mexico. And it's basically, how I can send you ETH instantly from one app to another with a QR code. You can do that with Mexican pesos now in Mexico. It's crazy.
Wow.
Whoa!
From
Yeah.
the central bank.
Yep.
Wow!
Wait, because you were mentioning this that they were adding. It was like Swift or something, like basically real time settlement.
So
Like
the
a
first step
Fedwire.
they took about 2 years ago is forced all the local licensed banks to implement a new version of a Swift transaction called SPEI, SPEI.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and as soon as it went live, it was 24/7, and it would allow, and it works, and it's actually best case. It's a best practice in the world. It's like that's probably the best system right now in the world. You know, for the cheap, it's zero cost, but you have to have a web connection to your bank account, right? So
Mhm.
you go online on your bank and you say, I want to send an SPay to this bank account, and it happens instantly and 24/7. You don't have to wait till Monday, right? So that's been working for 2 years. But
Yeah.
now they moved a step further, and now what they've added is something called CODI, which means cobro digital. Cobro digital, CODI. If you just Google CODI, so CODI means cobro digital. It now allows the SPay infrastructure in the backend, which is still there, which is instant 24/7, to be used from a mobile client by taking a picture of a QR code, exactly like the way we transcend crypto to each other,
Wow!
right? So
So you just
we,
have an app that will check is connected to your bank account, and then
yes,
you scan a QR code, and then it sends the money. You just like
instantly. Yeah,
accept, and then
yeah, exactly.
wow.
Yeah. Now, of course, it means you have to have a bank account,
Yeah.
right? Number one. And that would have been a problem if it wasn't for banks like Banco Azteca, who have been serving the lower middle class for 15 years, and that's their segment. And they went all in on this, and so they developed an app for opening a bank account that takes 5 minutes from an app. You download an app. You never go to into you never go into any branch. You download an app, and 5 minutes later, you've never had a bank account. Boom, you have a bank account, and you can start transacting and receiving money through a Kodi QR code.
You just
Instant.
have to like scan your ID or something.
Nope. You put in your ID information. You're putting your ID information. You don't scan it yet.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. How do you? That's crazy. I mean, how do you verify that it's really somebody? It's not just someone making a bank account in someone else's
They
name.
don't. Well, there's a couple of layers here. The bank account that they open for you is called a level 2 bank account, N2, which only allows a maximum deposit, monthly deposit of $700, around $700.
Okay. Okay.
So then, I mean, for money laundering purposes, it would be
Yeah.
really inefficient. You'd have to open up too many, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of how they protect that side.
Okay.
So that
Cool.
bank account that you open instantly only allows you to receive monthly 18,000 pesos, which is a little bit more than, it's about $850.
Okay.
Right. If you want to turn it into a full-blown bank account, then you go into the branch and you have to show your ID and everything, and then they just open it up to a full-blown bank account. If you never go into the branch, it remains a level 2.
Man, that's great, man.
And so one of the things that we're doing with Alibre, for the tech that we have, and speaking to Banco Azteca, we said, hey, we have a pretty good KYC, taking a picture of the ID and OCR and looking at the picture and then comparing it to the live camera. We can do that, right? Because we partnered with this technology provider from Switzerland. And so they were pretty interested. And we say, sure, I mean, long term, we'll start with the Tanda partnership, but long term, we might be able to provide them with that part of it. So then you could start by opening just your level 2, and then from the app, we could totally verify you, right? And then you would get a level 4. But anyway, getting ahead of myself. What you can do today, when you guys come now, you can do it now if you were in Mexico. You download this app, open a bank account, and then I can send you fiat Mexican pesos the next second.
Wait, so even us as foreigners could do that?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah. Because again, a level 2, they're not verifying anything specific.
That's fantastic.
I mean, they're going to verify your cell phone. It needs to be a Mexican cell phone, which you guys can get as well.
Yeah.
Right?
I've had that before.
Right? They're going to verify your cell phone. They're going to ask you for your name. You can put in whatever name you want. And they're going to ask you for an address. You can put in whatever address you want. Because in the end, what that is hoping to replace is cash. Right?
Mhm.
So you can come to Mexico. You can come to Mexico and you can receive cash from anyone and pay in cash to anyone, even if you're not Mexican. So you can do the same with this, but you just do it from a phone.
Mhm.
Okay, guys, back to the grant.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm just excited.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
I was jumping up and down, screaming excited 3 days ago when it worked for the very first time.
Yeah,
I got videos of it. I got videos of it. I'll show you.
No, I mean that's amazing, dude. That's like banking the unbanked. Like that's serious. You know.
That's yeah. It's totally amazing. So anyway, so we're gonna connect all of these channels, right? So hopefully very soon, if people start using Kodi more than cash, then we don't have to charge 8% on Kodi, right? Because it's free, but people don't use it yet. So we'll see. Anyway.
Would investment or like capital contributions or any of these or donations straight up to Libre ever get funneled towards this project or towards like, maintaining or working on the app for charities?
I don't understand the question.
Well, so I know that like Libre has investment, right?
Yeah.
And so
equity.
And I imagine that there also is potential of donors, just straight up donors. And I'm wondering if maybe another
Libre?
No, we don't have any donors. We don't have any donors to Libre, right? We're for-profit company, and that's what these guys are looking for. They're looking to partner
Okay,
with a
so but
for-profit
what if
company,
you,
right?
okay, what if you had an investor or something that was like basically came on because they were interested in specifically what you're offering to Mexican charities, and
So
and wanted
they would have many options. They could invest, get equity of Alibre as a company, right? And knowing that by investing in this company, they are supporting the sustainability of the company. That is one of the products that we do is focuses on charity that helps foundations like Castro Limon, right? Now, they could do that. Number two, they could say, no, I don't want to invest in Alibre and get equity, but I do want to donate through Alibre's platform to the various, the various projects like Castro Limon, like Patronato de Hospital General de Tijuana, like Fundación de Ópera, like we have like 4 ACs. And so then they can download the app and donate fiat. And if that person doesn't have fiat or has a combination of fiat and ETH, then now with this project, this is where this project comes in, right? As soon as somebody has Ethereum or crypto, then they come in through here.
Okay, but what I'm trying to get at is like, imagine we reach the end of our 12-month grant contract with UNICEF, and 1.5% has been like, it's like kind of sustaining, but it's not really enough to truly like maintain this app after the money from UNICEF dries up. And yet there's people out there, either, mentors to you or like colleagues and friends of Andres Araujo, or people who have found out about what we're doing. And they're like, I want this to continue.
Yeah.
Like, how would their money actually make it in to supporting the continued development of specifically
I'll give you a better answer than that. We don't need a continued support to continue to do this. We're going to do this with or without UNICEF, right? Right? And it's going to continue after UNICEF because it's a model that works, right? Because it has, the 1.5 transaction fee, right, that we can charge on the Ethereum side, the 8% that we charge on the fiat side. Hopefully, that's what we charged a year ago. Now with Cody, and as soon as people start using Cody more, which is like literally brand new and nobody in Mexico is using it yet, but a couple years from now, we might be able to charge on average 5%, 4%, because there's going to be 80% of people using the old horrible fiat that you put on the point of sale to donate. And then you have Oxxo taking all this money as an intermediary. But there's going to be 20% of people that are going to be donating fiat through Cody, right?
So I guess maybe what I should add is this 5 to 8% charge on
revenue. It's a revenue stream. Yeah, it's a revenue stream. Yeah, because we're not looking at the donation of Ethereum as a standalone thing. We're looking at it as the donation of Ethereum or crypto is the main driver that creates this snowball effect that enables the local community to jump on the bandwagon because they can see that they're getting a lot more traction with their local donations because they're being matched or they're being underpinned by international, angels that are just donating from everywhere in the world.
So just quick numbers analysis. You said about 20% of people are always going to be donating in fiat and not in crypto, at least, right?
I mean, way more.
I think in number of people, there's going to be way more people donating in fiat.
Yeah, I mean,
we had one pilot of something similar like this, which it was not with Castro Limon last year, and there was 390 people, right, for one kid in a span of I don't know, a couple months.
And how much did that campaign raise?
300. I put that somewhere down.
I
I
think
send
that
you.
was the Ismael one.
Yeah, it's my one. 300,000 pesos. Yeah.
Okay. So like, how many times in a year do you think that would happen?
Well, Castro Limon, it takes in about 12 to 19 kids a year, right? And so I would assume that if we get this up and running, the UNICEF thing, I would assume that this would be one of the channels that they'd add to the bag, to the mix of fundraising strategies that they use for all 19 kids or 12 kids or whichever, for each cohort every time.
Okay, and then also knowing that we will, like, the goal is by the end of this grant period to have what, like three charities that are running this?
Yeah, I hope so.
So I guess we could probably estimate that, like,
At least 3.
you know, definitely like 10 campaigns per year.
I'll tell you what. If we can get this to work for Castro Limon, right? We're gonna have the problem of telling foundations that to wait.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to estimate like how much we could expect this 5 to 8% transaction fee on fiat to how much we could expect that to generate over the next 12 months. So if we're like, say, so you said it's 300,000 Mexican pesos. So let's just go, like, we could say X10 for imagining 10 campaigns per year. And then, so it's 5, we could charge 5 per, just do 5%.
So hold on. So of the 300,000 pesos that of the 300,000 pesos that were raised for Ismael, right? Our platform provided the transparency and the consolidation of the information, but our platform only directly transacted 165,000 of those 300,000, so half of it. Meaning half of it came through our platform, but the other half they were doing from their other forms of fundraising, and they were reporting to our platform because our platform was the only one that was giving the 100% transparency view of the whole pie. Right. And so then we charged an 8% revenue on 160,000 pesos.
Okay, cool.
Does that make sense?
So, yeah, absolutely. Okay. So, I just changed that to.
And so then, if you multiply it by 10 and round it down, so make it easy to calculate, then you could say that we might, on the fiat side, we might transact 1 million pesos during a calendar year, and then you take, an average cost of like 7 or 6, because sometimes we have to charge 8. Well, actually, the maximum that we charge is 8. Sometimes we can charge 5. It depends on which channel people are using to donate, right?
Yeah.
And so the average cost can sometimes be around 6.25, something like that. So then if there's 1 million pesos that are being transacted over a year, which is about 10 campaigns, then you got 6.25 of 1 million, which is 62,500 pesos, is it?
Yeah, my calculations just gave me 7,000. So yeah, I think it's around there. And
it gave you 7,000 what?
USD.
Okay, sure.
For a year, because it was.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it was. I basically did 160 or no 1.6 million pesos times 8%.
Yeah. And so there you go. I mean, that's another one of the direct revenue streams, because again, we don't see the UNICEF grant as a standalone project. We see as a grant that is pushing us to develop faster something that we were going to develop maybe in the next 3 to 5 years, Now we're saying, okay, well, we have this grant, so we're going to push it up in our timeline. We're going to develop this now.
Yeah.
Right.
And customer acquisition and brand positioning are definitely revenue streams that should be on there.
I don't think that they're revenue streams for the project. I think they're revenue streams for the company.
But that company, for the company, but they're derived from the project. Like
the thing,
going to the company.
But the thing with this UNICEF document,
to the project, not money that comes from the project.
Yeah. The thing with this UNICEF document is that their mindset is always a project-based mindset. And I'm going to be in country for 6 months, and what happens after we leave? Well, here's the thing. We're not leaving. We've been here for 7 years, and we're going to be here for 10 more years. This is a company that is part of the community and that is already sustainable within this community.
Dude, and I hope that helps us stand out against other applicants, because I do think that's an issue. A lot of times with these granting agencies, it's like they just end up funding something that builds a nice prototype, and they run one nice pilot, and then nothing else of it ever.
Exactly, because they consumed the money and it was nice and fun while the money was there, and ciao. But
so it's important to talk about the revenue streams, because there's a higher potential for long-term impact.
I think what Giveth means is that brand value and customer acquisition themselves don't make money, but that's a valuable intangible asset that our company is going to use to produce other revenue streams. So it's going to give us more revenue. It's going to give us more revenue streams on our Quota product. It's going to give us more revenue streams on our Tanda product, and on our Cooperacha product, and on our Alcancía product. So we have 4 products that are running, right?
Yeah.
And all of these 4 products are going to be, bolstered by this customer acquisition and brand positioning that this product will bring.
Revenue streams are the roads, right? Like, and if you're building cars, that's awesome. It makes the roads more well used. There's probably more value in that public resource, but the roads are the revenue streams, and cars aren't.
So the other revenue streams would be these other products that he has, that the customers that use.
I mean, we're good. We're totally.
Here's the thing. I also own a little restaurant next to that road. And so since there's going to be more cars going through it, my business, which is that restaurant, is going to make more money because there's going to be more people stopping to eat. So, that's the idea here. The idea here is that the 1.5 transaction fee of this project is our charge is enough for us to maintain the part that we do. I was clear on something, by the way, and I don't know how you've written this down, but the 1.5 is the part that we charge. Whatever channel needs to be used to deliver that fiat has its own cost.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And so sometimes that channel has a 3% cost. Sometimes it has a 5% cost. It depends on where Castro Limon has to receive it. Or if Castro Limon says, no, I don't receive it. I don't have to receive this money in my own account. It has to be sent directly to the doctor that's doing the operation, which happens to be, I don't know where, needs to receive it in whatever type of fiat form. So we connect any and all fiat forms in Mexico, right? And so depending on where it needs to go, the final cost of...
you could have multiple times of charging that same percentage.
No. Our 1.5 is ours. It's only ours. It's only charged one time once the money's been delivered.
But
right?
bits are going to charge, and some bank is going to charge, and then there's going to be some other service charge, and there's just other people that you have to pay to move money.
Yeah.
So now you could say there's 2 ways of looking at it. Some people say that we should call the whole charge, we should call it our revenue stream, so our revenue is, some people say, oh, so then your revenue is 8%, and then you have to pay a service provider like a bank and give them 5%. That would be the case if I was actually charging the 8% and then paying the bank. But it's not that way because the bank takes its percentage before I even see any money.
Okay, so the 8% isn't going to Al Libre then. Is that what you're saying? The entire 8% does not go to Al Libre?
What are we talking about? Are we talking about Quota, my existing product, or are we talking about how this product might function?
Both.
Let's talk quota.
Let's talk quota.
Is
Okay,
the
so
8% going to Al Libre?
Okay. Quota today is in the process of changing from the old version of doing it, of we would charge 8%, right? Right? And we would eat anything above 8% depending on what the intermediaries that were involved in each transaction. So in some transactions, it would cost us 5%, 6%. In other transactions, it would cost us 10%. So we were charging 8, and on average, we'd be sort of like there, right? We've decided to move Quota to a version of saying, look, you're the homeowners association, right? Administrator. You choose which channels you want to give your homeowners to pay you, right? Whichever channel you choose, and however mix of those channels your homeowners choose to pay you with, that cost is going to be directly charged to you. I'm not touching that, right? If you feel American Express is too expensive because it's 3.8%, then don't use that channel. I offer it. I consolidate it if you want to use it. But if you feel it's too expensive, then don't choose that channel. You choose your channels. The money that your people pay is going to be automatically sucked dry of this percentage that channel charges. And at the end of the month, and I'm going to make sure you're going to get that money. You're going to get the 96% if all you chose is Amex. If all you chose is the channel Amex, somebody pays you $100, you're going to get 96 in your bank today. At the end of the month, I'm going to look and say, oh, there was $100 transaction. So here's a bill for $1.50 because that's my service.
Yeah.
You see? That's how I'm moving Quota to right now. And that's how I see UNICEF working.
Okay.
Right? So of course, in the case of Castro Limon, then I've already had this conversation with them. They're like, open any channel. I don't care what the channel costs, because I don't want to give a donor an excuse not to donate.
Yeah.
Right? And so open any and all channels. And so we open all of them. And then people can say, oh, I want to donate with Amex. And if they donate $1,000 with Amex, Castro Limon receives $960, right? Which $960 is a whole lot better than nothing that they weren't going to get if this person didn't want to, because this person wanted to donate, but they wanted to do with Amex. You don't look a gifted horse in the mouth or something like that. I don't know what that is.
Gift horse.
Gift horse in the mouth. Is that the saying?
Yeah. The idea is someone's giving you a horse and you don't judge it by looking at its mouth to see how healthy it is. It's
just take it, right? And so that's what Castro Limon is doing, right? Any channel. And we are not charging that 4%. We're letting Amex suck it in the channel. And that's how they do it. They just literally take it out before they deliver the money to our platform, which is then just forwarded to Castro Limon, right? Yeah. So we forward $96 to Castro Limon, but at the $960. But at the end of that month, if the total donation was $1,000, then we send a $15 bill.
Yeah.
To Castro Limon.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that make sense? And that's how I see UNICEF working.
Okay.
The UNICEF channel, which is not a UNICEF channel, they're just giving a grant so that we can connect a crypto channel donation, transparent crypto channel donation from point A, which is crypto holder anywhere in the world, to point B, which is Ismael, cancer kid that needs treatment.
Yeah. Okay. This is kind of a random question. This next, but do you understand what user acquisition ratio is? Because it's something they ask for in just the next question on this sheet. If you just scroll down, business plan, talk about your user base. And they have a description of it down below, a definition of user acquisition rate, but it still doesn't help that much. And I don't think Danny or Nacho, who filled these columns out, neither of them have been able to figure it out.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Do you know?
Let me tell you something. The person that wrote that grant doesn't understand what that is. They just found this cool buzz thing and they say, "Oh, I think I need to ask about this," and they
Yeah.
just put it on there. So they have no freaking clue. So I don't know what they mean by user acquisition ratio because people call the same things by different names. So if I Google user acquisition ratio, I get something that that says how to calculate customer acquisition cost ratio. Now, CAC, customer acquisition cost, I know how to calculate that, and that varies by company. That varies by company because it depends on
part of the definition. So they go, the definition is the total sales and marketing expenses associated with gaining a new customer, comma, and the incremental increase in the gross margin associated with those new customers during a given period of time. And the second part of it is just like, what? I mean, the first part is obviously the customer acquisition cost. That's fine, but
yeah,
I guess
so then
we'll
you take
treat it that way.
They're trying to say what's the incremental revenue that you expect. So if you're going to pay $10 or $5 to acquire a customer, then what's the incremental revenue that you expect from this customer? And so the idea of that is if you're only expecting $5 of increment revenue from acquiring a customer and it's costing 10, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Now the problem with this is that this is all project based and it's very short term based, and they're only thinking about 1 year. And here's the thing: I'm a company who's thinking about 20 years, and so for me, the customer lifetime value of a customer that I acquire through this process is much higher than what I can think about in a month or a year. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the customer lifetime value. If somebody signs up to my platform because they donated to Ismael, right? Then maybe a year from now, they're going to do a tanda. Maybe 2 years from now, they're going to do a cooperacha. And guess what? Signing them up, basically, right? It didn't cost me anything because it was Castro Limon my customer acquisition cost tends to zero. And over a large period of time, my customer lifetime value tends to N, whatever number that is. So it's a no-brainer. I'm doing it.
Could you, off the top of your head, say what the average donation was to Ismael's campaign?
Yeah, I think it was something like the average one. I think it was something like, I don't know, 180 something pesos. On average,
100 pesos.
180 something pesos, if I remember correctly. That was the average donation. But hold on, this is where it gets tricky. We calculated the average transaction, okay? And to be honest, we haven't gone back and calculated the average total donation per person, because part of what our platform does, which is something that was really cool, which was that you can say, I want to donate 1,000 pesos. But there's no way that you can donate 1,000 pesos in one time. But the platform allows you to donate 100 pesos a month for 10 months. And that cash flow doesn't burden you because you're making 1,500 pesos a week. And 100 pesos a month donation does not burden you. You can do that. But if I were to ask you to donate 1,000 pesos right now for Ismael, and you're looking at your bank account, I don't even have 1,000 pesos. So we calculated the average transaction of donation.
Yeah.
I have not gone back and looked at the average donation per person, which could be much higher because of the fact that people are doing multiple automated donations.
I mean, would that be easy if you have the number of?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna do that. No,
Okay.
this is bullshit. I'm not. This is like these questions are bullshit. So I can bullshit an answer, and I can say, yeah, 850 pesos.
Yeah,
That's
right?
fine. That's fine.
that's the spirit.
Uh,
Yeah.
Great, 50. That sounds good. Okay, so moving on.
I'm sorry. This is not against you. It's just now you can start to
No,
see
dude,
why. You
I
can
am
start to
all
see
about
why
it.
I got so fed up of working with not foundations actually, with grant making entities.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so then there is a question also in this same sheet. I think it's the next one, maybe? Yeah, business development, sales, and marketing activities.
Yeah.
We filled a couple out for Giveth, and I figure like you or Nacho would probably be the only people to answer this for A Libre.
Yeah. Where do I look at?
So it's just scroll down one more question. After
I'm looking at the question on Telegram, but where do I look
sorry.
at the?
It's in template 6, the same document that we've been in.
Yeah.
And it's just part 2, question 2.
And hey, quick one. What API do you think Giveth will use to connect to or to connect to Quota or Quota equivalent? Like, where?
I
how are you
mean,
going to expose the API exactly? You know?
we'll have an endpoint, and we do
Like, will
RESTful
the
APIs with JSON. Sorry.
Oh, you're breaking up. Say that again.
We use RESTful APIs with like JSONs and etc., and we'll probably open up an endpoint. I'm not sure for that specific part. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Hello.
Did you
hear me?
No,
you
it
were
kind of
breaking
broke
up
really bad.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We use RESTful APIs. We use RESTful, and we use endpoints. We'd have an endpoint that you guys. I don't know what else do we do, like Oh, hold on. Let me give you something from a note that I had. Look at my notes. The last time I asked.
Honestly, I'm kind of talking out of my ass as well here. Like,
hold on, Luis.
I'm assuming it's like
okay.
We would be if the API is pulling from Postgres. I don't really know though.
We use the RESTful API protocol, or I don't know if it's called a protocol, and it's all JSON based, and we would expose an endpoint so that you guys can connect to it. And I would guess you guys would have to have the same, because we'd also have to get information from you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, your team and our team would work on API to share information between us.
Perfect. Okay.
So we use HTTPS, JSON for the API. They don't have to be RESTful, but it's RESTFUL. It's REST. They don't have a REST, but as long as they have as long as it's in JSONs, then it should be fine. But if you just follow the REST API protocol, then everything's fine.
Okay.
We do direct connection to an IP public IP. We don't need a VPN. But if there needs to be one, then we can also work on that. And then we authenticate based on access tokens.
Okay. Sounds good.
Who are your personal network people who are like mentors to you, mentors to A Libre, who could?
That's on the website. So if you do alibre.io,
Okay.
can you see it in Thailand?
probably.
Yeah. I'm working on it. I got it
Okay.
here.
So go to Giveth.io and then go to team, and then scroll down from the team, and then there's advisors, and then if you click on each advisor, then you have a short spiel for each advisor.
I guess
And then let me point you to the four. Let me point you to the four Mexican advisors, which are very well positioned people within Mexico. Right. So you have Luis Ibarra, Jose Larroque, Pedro Padierna, and Pedro Ivan Perez.
Okay, cool. Is there one out of that list who you think, the question is someone you intend to leverage over the duration of your investment for product development, advice, or funding strategy? Like if you had to pick someone in your network who fit that.
Yeah, and it's funny because of the freaking page thinks it works that way, but it doesn't. You draw upon everyone for anyway. But if you have to pick one, and then it would make sense more within Mexico, and he's a very high level person that you can find on Forbes and everything, Mexico thing, you would take Pedro Padierna.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
for Mexico reasons.
Oh yeah.
Okay, awesome. Easy question.
Okay. All right, good.
So next question. Who's your main competitor for like the Quota app? Okay, sorry. Quota app is like much more business focused, but okay, imagine it's the Quota app for charities. Who's the main competitor?
So I mean, if we're talking about helping raise funds for, foundations and if it's that broad of a scope, right? If the scope is helping foundations raise funds, then the main competitor is the status quo, is like the way it's currently done. So there's a lot of people out there that do it for a fee. They do it manually. They've got connections. They help you raise funds. That's kind of like the main thing.
Is there any app?
There aren't any. No.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, there's no apps. There's a lot of web clones of
course, there's
GoFundMe, Indiegogo, all those. Many of those are not operating in Mexico, but they all have a copycat, some smaller version of a copycat that exists in Mexico, and none of them work.
None of them work?
No.
Wow. Like, do people, is that the general public's opinion of them? Is like, that doesn't work.
Here's the thing. That's a Western world mindset product of the financial world. In the quantum finance world, which I think I've mentioned this before, this whole concept of quantum finance, in a world where you only have $5 to $10 of savings, and you're only going to be transacting 20 cents or 50 cents back and forth, in that very small world of finance, somebody comes along and tells you, oh, look at this web page on a computer. First of all, well, I don't have a computer, right? But let's sign in with an email. I don't have an email, right? The only thing I have now, not 10 years ago, but now, is I have a smartphone. They don't even call it a smartphone. They just call it a phone with a big screen, right? So I have a big screen phone, and I have apps on there. And my only sign-in information, I don't know any passwords or anything, because I signed in to WhatsApp, to YouTube, to Facebook, to Instagram by just typing in my phone, and it automatically read the PIN. So I've never had to think about a username or a password. I don't have an email. And so all of these platforms just copy what, crowdfunding platforms in the US did 10 years ago. They're all web-based with emails. And so the base of the pyramid never uses them. Yeah. It's just people like me who are at the 20, 30% top part of the pyramid who have experienced all the different technologies through the last 20 years, who have an email, who have all that, who can use them. The base of the pyramid is 100% mobile, no email. This is totally irrelevant for them. So
I
there
hear
are
you talk about base of pyramid a lot, and I'm curious, like, what percent of Mexico do you think that is?
70%.
Oh, wow.
Now, you don't have to take that from me. You can look at the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB, 750,000 opportunity. Let me send you the link. A rising 750 billion market, unlocking the potential. So let me put that link on here, and you can download that the PDF and just go through it, and it'll show you that in Latin America, there's 70% of the base of the pyramid, 70% the base of the pyramid of all of Latin America, which is about 400 and something million people, live on $10 purchasing power parity or less per day.
You know, it's always such a weird reminder to me, because like I remember when I moved to Merida, and like when my Spanish teacher, like we had some activity in class where she was like, she just as a side note mentioned that Mexico was like a third world country. And I was like, what? Third world? Like that, like this doesn't feel like the third world to me. And
we like to call it an emerging economy, emerging market. So it's sort of like you have, or second world. I don't know why nobody uses second world, right? Anyway, so there's developed markets, and then there's, you know, and then what did you call this? Third world countries, right? And then third world countries will start to develop themselves, and they're emerging to become a first world. And so you have the famous BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, but you would add to that BRIC category, you would add Mexico, you would add Colombia, probably, Colombia, anyway, you get the picture, right? And so Mexico is part of Latin America, and the base of the pyramid, it probably is not as high. Like Mexico is richer than most countries in Latin America. So the average base of the pyramid in Latin America is 70% of the base of the pyramid lives on $10 purchasing power parity or less per day. In Mexico, it probably won't be 70% of the population that lives on that. Might be 50% of the population. But on average, across Latin America, those are the numbers, right, that you have in that document. And so, in this particular case, competitors, direct competitors, there aren't any. The problem is not competition here.
Well, I understand that for what this really is offering, there are no direct competitors.
Yeah.
I do want to know though, what's the leading one out of those GoFundMe clones?
I have no idea, because none of them work. Not a single one of them work. Nobody does anything with that.
They don't work for the base of the pyramid, right? But they do work for like people like you, right?
Well, I have never used one, and I don't have any of my friends that have ever used one either. So I don't know what that means. Because it's like it's not in an emerging market culture to tell somebody, hey, I'm going to do this. Can you give me money so I can reach a goal so that then I can go do it? People go like, yeah, right, bullshit. What you do first in an emerging market, that's why I called it not crowdfunding, I call it crowd recouping. And that's what Cooperacha is. It's a crowd recouping app. So you go do it first, you finish, you show me the common good that you've done. I am so grateful that now I'm going to help you little by little to recoup the money you've spent. But nobody's giving you here money on a promise of something you might do, because they've lived in Mexico or in Brazil for decades and you know better. You know, that's just the way real life is, you know?
Yeah. But it sucks because there's what I understand, there's no like loans that are safe for people to take out. So it's like if you don't have the actual money to front for the thing, like how do you get to the point where you just pay for it out of pocket and then your friends help you recoup? Like how do you even get there?
You probably don't. If you don't have the money, that's not a problem. You convince people to work for free for 6 months, weekends, to build this playground, right? And everybody's happy and you do it with materials that people donate because they're sort of left over from their construction site, and you finally do it and everyone's very happy. And then because there were 4 of you that worked every weekend for 6 months, people help you recoup the value of time that you invested.
Yeah.
So this is what's very interesting to me, because all of these grant-making entities are headquarters in Switzerland, in New York, and these are all with people that have no freaking clue how the real world works. And I know this because I was one of them, right? But I decided to open up my eyes and come live in a country where that things are actually happening. And then I realized, hey, oh my God, I felt so bad because there's no people don't have credit. But you know what? There's other grassroots, decentralized, peer-to-peer, decentralized structures that have been working for generations that produce amazing results. And now if I want to put some of those online, I can't just fucking copy GoFundMe because it's just not going to work. So then our problem is not competition. Our challenge is how do you change the status quo? So our main competitor is the status quo. It's not an entity, not a company, not nothing. It's just the status quo. And people saying, I don't want to download this app and donate through it. I'll just wait until the next time I see Castro Limon in some event and then giving money, like I've done it for the last 50 years, 40 years, right? So that's our main challenge. It's not about oh, these competitors. We are not in a red ocean. We're in a blue ocean, right? Our problem is finding fish, right? In a red ocean like the US or the UK or Switzerland, there's so many competitors. You have to elbow your way through. You have to have a unique selling proposition, and you got to have customer acquisition costs, and they have to be lower and all this shit. All that crap flies out of the window when you're in the middle of the desert, and all you have to do is find water. You don't have to fight with somebody else to take their water, because there's not 100 people drinking from a small pond. There's nobody. There's no ponds. You have to find it. So it's a whole different mentality. So yeah, so I can't, the only answer I have for you and who are my competitors is the status quo.
Okay, good. I like it.
The way that people donate today, all of those ways that people donate today, none of them, 0 of them have anything to do with a digital platform or app or web app even.
And do people use checks or do they just use cash when
they still use checks.
They use checks. Okay,
I'll show you. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So further down on the same doc, it's question 6 on financial strategy. And
let me send you a really crazy PDF with crazy numbers. It's amazing. This is the numbers from the central bank with the Corvi thing, and I think it'll help you understand. Where did I send this? Here. I sent it here, and I'm going to forward to you on WhatsApp because it's already on WhatsApp, and it's harder to. I can't forward it much to Telegram. Here we go. Forward it.
Thank
to
you.
Laura Lai. Boom. So if you open that PDF up, kaput machen. I want you to look at presentación code.
Hey, Love, did you
I
work
want
on
you.
financial strategy at all? Like, I'm not quite sure.
So I want you to look at.
I didn't know.
I want you to look at page 3.
Can I do it as homework?
Wait.
Just look at a couple numbers. Yeah.
All right.
When you ask me for an hour, you got to be careful because I get passionate and then you get more than what you were bargaining for. So
I
here we go.
know.
Look at page 2.
Okay.
All right.
It's downloading.
This is gonna blow your mind. Look at page 2.
Every day that people realize.
Are you on page 2 now?
Well, I think you want me to on page 3.
I do mean page 3. Sorry. Yes.
um.
You see?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Percentage of adults that are using cash card, a different card, or
So on the left is cash, then it's
yeah.
a debit card, then it's a credit card, and then it's other means. Okay. Any purchase 500 pesos or less, 95% of those are cash.
Yeah.
In Mexico. Okay. Any purchase 500 pesos or more, 87% of that's cash. Okay.
Rent, 90% cash. Wow.
90% cash. Paying for water, light, and electricity, 95% cash. Private services like internet, cable, 91% cash. There you go. There aren't any freaking competitors. Nobody's doing this.
Yeah.
Right? No. So the next slide is interesting for other points, so I'm not going to go into it. But
okay, homework.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to figure out what I wanted to ask you about this, but you can scroll to this question. It's the last question on this doc.
Yep.
Describe the main sources of additional investment and funding to develop this project that you currently have and you will be pursuing during the next 12 months. Okay, so this is asking.
Describe the main sources. What other money am I getting from where?
Yeah, and specifically, I think it's asking about like how are you going to finance this project after the UNICEF grant money is gone?
Yeah. So the answer to that is I don't need the UNICEF grant, right? I can finance it myself. So I'm gonna just keep financing with my company. I have a company, so I have a company that's raised 2.5 million equity in the past, raised that money, right? And currently, I've just closed on a $350,000 extension, right? So I have $350,000 that started to come in monthly over the next 18 months, and it started in October. And so for the next 18 months, I am being funded by my own, I'm scratching my own back. If you, UNICEF, give me these $100,000, then the only thing I'm going to do with that is that I'm going to push up my timeline, right? And my priorities to do this in this year, right? Otherwise, I would do it with my own money, sometimes in the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
So get over yourself, UNICEF. I don't, I will be alive after you. So yeah, so $2.5 million before, already invested, already part of the platform, etc. $350,000 that are coming in as we speak over the next 18 months.
Maybe it's better. I think actually if I ask you my last question before we really go into this one, just have you come onto the budget spreadsheet with me. I think that's the right operation.
And this is the one that Nacho sent you?
No, this is the application budget proposal.
Okay.
And so basically all you need to look at is the company 1-year budget, which is the second tab on the sheet that I just sent you in Telegram. So I guess I wanted to verify that this looks right to you. And as I was saying before, there's like basically two different types of budget info they ask for. They ask for, stuff specific to that one project, and then the wider company overall. And this is the wider company overall, so all of Alibre's funds. And I'll just explain really quickly.
Wait,
So this
so I'm looking at a Libre budget here for 1 calendar year. Is this what this is supposed to be?
Yes. And let me
a
just
Libre.
explain,
Nothing to do with UNICEF, just all of a Libre.
Yeah, let me explain the Giveth part just so that you're not stuck up on that. Is that basically everyone who's on the team structure diagram needs to be. We need to show them that we're planning for those people's salary in the budget, and so we just put in this little section of the Giveth revenue that's going to be paying for specifically the Giveth expenses. So you don't have to worry about that part.
Here's something that I need to do. I need to look at this top down, and I need to just get through this very, very quickly because I'm getting very quickly exasperated. Not with you, with UNICEF. And this is what I did. This is why I said I don't want to have anything to do with this grant because I hate this shit, But you are very, very calm and you're doing it. So I'm doing this to help you because you've decided to deal with this. And so,
Thank you.
So, number one, a Libre's budget for this 2020 is about 60% of $350,000.
Okay.
So 60% of $350,000 is about what?
200K-ish.
Yeah, 180-ish, 200K-ish. That's a Libre's total budget for the next for the next 12 months. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I know this? It's a top down. I was able to secure $350,000 coming in the door starting this last month, and I secured it for an 18-month commitment that I would work on certain things. So then I'm going to spend it that way. I'm going to spend it, draw it down over 18 months, those $350,000, right? Mm-hmm. So that's about as specific as I can be with a budget. I'm an actual company that has to do things and deliver things. I don't have to do fucking spreadsheets. Nobody pays me to do spreadsheets. So then I don't have a budget that way. The last time we did a budget was in order to speak to this investor who put in the $350,000. So I can send you that budget, right? And you can do what you will with it, right? Because those numbers are Puma numbers. Do you know what Puma numbers are?
No.
These is a very serious source that entrepreneurs use, and consultants use it a lot very well. It's like Wikipedia, but it's better. It's Puma. It's called "Pulled It Out of My Ass."
It's like Wikipedia, but better.
Exactly.
This whole fucking grant.
Yeah.
A lot of Puma.
Yeah. It's a lot of Puma. So I can send you that 60 months. I think we did a 60-month forward-looking P&L to just have a discussion with the investor, right? But in the end, because the money went through, the $350,000 went through. Then now we're operating in a way where we need to spend it over 18 months to get to the point where we have full sustainability of the whole company from just the quota product, not the UNICEF, from just the quota for homeowners association fees, for membership clubs and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So our current path forward is to focus on developing that enough so that it's making enough money month on month to pay for our operation starting in 18 months. And I'm very confident that we can do that. So having said that, if this money comes in, I will not manage this as a separate project and keep tabs on it, you're going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, great, my quota product, which is a monetization arm, right, is bringing me users that are that will sometimes be using my other products. Well, now I have another spearhead, right? So I have the monetization one, which is quota, which appeals to high-end rich people who are paying for this service. And I have a really cool, social impact, brand awareness, product, which is, I don't know what it's going to be called yet, right? Which allows people to donate with anything, including crypto, from anywhere in the world. You can donate pesos from anywhere in Mexico in any type of fiat channel that you can imagine, and you can donate crypto from anywhere in the world. And it's all going to arrive to one person who needs it, who is a child with cancer, to start with, a pilot, right? And then hopefully other associations like Castro Limon will use it as well.
Hey, Griff.
I don't know if that helps. Do you want me to send you that budget?
You can. I'm always open to having more information, but I'm guessing I probably won't end up using it. So if it's super hard for you to find, then
no, it's not. But Puma away, my young Padawan.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that that's just the best plan here.
Now, just be careful with something, okay? Since you're going to be managing this grant, so let's plan for success, okay? So we're doing this, and you're doing this. We're doing it, but you're doing it mostly because you think we're going to succeed, right? Now, success means we're going to receive that money. Now, the caveat here, which I've told you, is I don't want to have that money if it means that I'm going to be fucking answering questions every month on oh, send me that and send me this. I would rather have my time than $100,000, right? So then you would be answering that to them. You would be calling them back and making bullshit spreadsheets to update them on shit and stuff. However long that needs to be done. So whatever bullshit numbers, Puma numbers you put in now, make sure you can defend them later.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'm concerned about is I'm not sure how much investigative work they're going to do on that.
They're not going to do much. They're not going to send somebody. They're not going to send somebody to do. They don't have the what do you call it? The resources to do that, right?
Yeah.
They are going to ask you to produce really nice documents that look really nice with numbers that make sense to the original thing that you sent, so that they can show it in Geneva or in New York to their bosses, and everyone can say, yeah, and nothing is actually happening underneath, because these are all paper-based projects. Except there's going to be one project, us, who are actually doing something awesome, right?
Okay, so a couple things.
Yes.
It might not be me.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying it's going to be you. It's not going to be you. But it might not be
It's
me.
not going to be it's not going to be Andre either.
No, it's not going to be Andre. Andre needs to dev.
Okay.
And he needs to lead other devs.
Yeah. And he needs to work, right?
Yeah.
Right? Good. And he needs to hire other devs and lead them to create a product that actually works and cures children of cancer.
We might want to hire a comms person in Mexico as well.
So if we hire a comms person, we can help you, and then you pick that person, because you're going to be leading that person, and that person's going to be sending you the information that you need. And I'm just going to help you find somebody and kind of send you a few profiles, right? And you're going to manage that person, and you're going to pay her out of those $100,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the plan. And so we might end up having someone like that who's more of a project manager.
Yeah.
And this role we're talking about, the person who talks to UNICEF every month and all that. I'm not sure if it would even be okay for me to be that person, since I'm not Mexican.
Yeah. Actually, I think it would be better because nobody Mexican will be on the other line of UNICEF speaking in Spanish. There's going to be somebody in New York or Geneva. Those
I
are the
know
guys. Those are the people who
their
are going
whole
to be
deal. They're like,
in
yeah,
English.
we want program countries, but we want you to do everything for us in English.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like exactly. So yeah, no, it actually makes more sense that someone like you do it because you're going to find somebody that is going to be on the ground nagging Andre and the two people that are working on it to, hey, can I have this because I need to report this, and they're not going to feel very. This person needs to be very nice, needs to have this like make you feel good, like this quality that when they come in the room they sort of like make you relax because in general, the work she's going to be doing or he's going to be doing is going to be sort of nagging because let me work. I'm in monk mode and I'm doing stuff. And I was like, well, can I have a report on that? Can I do that? And so that person needs to have that kind of profile. And then this person's going to put all those numbers together and everything and that reports and all those nice words and make some videos and send them to you. And you're going to make sure that these information makes sense in the story that you're telling UNICEF that got us the grant in the first place.
Well, basically, they want to have real-time online ways to check in on the project's progress. So like so in a way that's better because I feel like what I'm hearing from them is they just want to watch us work on GitHub. And so that's cool. It's like as long as we can get the people who are deving on this, who mainly we're going to hire them, like we'll definitely be able to.
Okay, mi amor. Okay.
We'll be able to set the expectations for where you do your work and how visible it is and stuff. So that should be a little easier than the type of grant where someone has to deliver like a formulated report every month.
I don't think as much as they say that, I don't think it's gonna change. I mean, I'm happy that they're saying that. I'm happy that they're saying that. And as much as I love them, I have a lot of very good friends that work at UNICEF, UNDP, WHO, UNAIDS. It's at the ILO, the Red Cross, and I love them to death. And I do think they're doing something of value. But every time we have dinner and lunch in Geneva, they laugh about the fact of how I'm just fed up with the general, way that things are done. And so they want to change things, people my age, but their bosses, in the end, require a white piece of paper with some numbers that make sense, so they can just say, "Look, right." And so even if they say that they want access to the GitHub and they're going to be checking it live, which we will do, we're going to put this on some sort of repository where they can follow, quote unquote, look at it. You're still going to get a call from somebody saying, "Hey, do you mind? I sent you this Word document. It's a form. Can you mind sending it out? Because I need to give that to my superior." And that form was actually the form that person needed to fill out by looking at the GitHub. But that person has no freaking clue how to look at it and how to make sense of it. So he sends it to you. Right?
Oh my God.
Right? And that's the way. I just want you to know the reality. This is not going to be you worked on this for a week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks and you got the money and everyone goes, yay. This is going to be a year of pain. Okay?
Year of pain.
Because we're not going to be able to tell the UNICEF people, because I can do this. I can give them a VPN tunnel connection so they can watch my video cameras I have video cameras, security cameras in the office, right?
And it still wouldn't be good enough.
I can let them watch us work, physically watch us work. I can give them access to our AWS repository, right? For the part that's on there, access to the GitLab, right? And because we're actually really working for real. So there's going to be real shit happening on there, right? They're not going to be able to interpret that, right? And so they're still going to send you every given time. I don't know how often. It depends on how much they're getting pressure from their bosses. They're still going to send you, not me, not Andre, right? You, request for information, right? And so then make sure you put in that budget the fact that you're gonna hire, that we're gonna hire somebody that you're gonna manage, that sits in a libre, that's gonna help you collect that information. But in the end, all the information she sends you, you're the only one that knows what you told UNICEF right now, what you're pumaing right now. So you're gonna have to mix and match that information that's coming back to report it in a way that it makes sense to UNICEF and it doesn't make them nervous.
Okay, so I do need to know though that like it will be possible to synchronize on some things about Al Libre as a company, because like if we run into problems with the budget where they're like, well, we really like your application, but the bank statement that you sent us doesn't seem to be congruent with your company 1 year budget. Like, can you clarify this some more? I can't get away from the fact that I will need you sometimes.
No, you won't need me. The person that we hire, right? I'm gonna vet first 3 or 4 people, right? And I'm gonna say, okay, I these 3 or 4 people that I vetted, I trust. And then you're gonna interview these 2 or 3 of them, and you're gonna say, okay, I want to work with her or with him. So that person's gonna be hired and paid for by this budget of 100K, right? Okay. Now that person, I will give access to all the bank accounts of Ahorro Libre Inc. on the U.S. side, right? Which is the holding company, right? Of Soluciones de Efectivo en Comunidad, which has like 4 bank accounts. And that's what happened. That Nacho made a mistake. Did he send you the right one now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Right. And so that person's going to have access to all of that. Right. And so then when these people come back with stupid questions because they have no freaking idea how a company that actually does work works, all they know is how fake companies, which because they're being jibbed. They're a real foundation. They're sitting in Geneva and they've never been to these countries where they're giving donations. 90% of the projects that they're funding are people that are pushing paper to get funds, and they're spending it in restaurants and traveling and then reporting shit back that is not actually happening. Okay?
Really? Wow.
Well, that's what I know, which is not the truth. It's what I have seen. Okay? Right? And it's sad, but that's the way it works. And so, I threw out 95% out of my ass. It's probably 60 or 70 or whatever it is. Right? So I saw enough of this to be completely fed up with that. Right? And that's why when I started Al Libre here, everyone told me, oh my God, because you want to do rotating savings and credit associations and you want to do this and it's great for social impact. Why don't you apply for this grant? Why don't you apply for that? And it's like, not going to apply for that because they're going to make me work 3 times as much to produce papers that do nothing. I'm going to actually create an app that actually works. And people are like, oh, there's this great project I saw in Peru. I'm like, really? Okay, great. I download the app or I sit and it doesn't work because all it was some facade to get the money from the Inter-American Development Bank, right? And it never worked. Not a single person did anything with it. The crypto version of that is called WeTrust. WeTrust is a company that did an ICO in 2017, right? For Roscas. That's what they claimed on the white paper. They got $8 million at the time at the prices of Ethereum. It blew up to 25 million by the time Ethereum was at its peak. Ask me or ask them how many Roscas have actually been done of somebody in Mexico or India or Zero. Okay. That's the same thing that happens with all these grants. It's been happening for 50 years. And so that person which we hire is going to have access to all my shit, everything. But let us work and actually get the work done. And this person is just going to take whatever information they need and funnel it up to UNICEF.
Okay, well, that definitely gives me a better idea that like knowing that that person will have access to all of that. But you give me some concern when you say that like, you know, like I'm a company, like nobody's paying me to do spreadsheets. Like I don't have to do budget spreadsheets. Basically what I'm hearing like is like, oh, it's all in my head. You know,
no. We have all these budgets that we do for ourselves. Okay. Right? It's called
it is documented internally, and someone who has access to that would be able to make sense of it and
so we have
to tell UNICEF.
We have real bank accounts. We have a real company in Mexico and the US. We're about to have now 2 companies in Mexico within the corporate umbrella. And so we have real tax, we have to produce real tax reports and file taxes, right? Internally, we need to make decisions. And so we do what is called a management accounting cycle. So we follow our expenses, right? Categorize our expenses, right? There's a spreadsheet for that. We maintain maybe once a year a forward-looking P&L, because I have to have a sense of what I think my company is going to be spending and making next year. Total, right? I have to have that. I can't manage a company without that, right?
Yeah.
If you ask me if I can break that down by cuota, cooperacha, tanda, alcancía, and now this new one, which the name is still to be determined, I can't.
Is it possible that you could send me your most recent forward-looking P&L?
More than possible. I can do it right now. Right now. Let's see. FR. What's it?
It was that. You got it.
It was Safi. It's Safi because there's all the
Give me a second. Let me find it and send it to you.
Oh.
Oof. You got the fly?
Motherfucking mosquitoes, man.
Oh, dude, that's one of the reasons I don't go to Thailand that much. I loved it. Loved it. Can't deal with mosquitoes.
Yeah, they're real. And they're ankle biters, man. They're hiding under the table.
They're pain in the butt. Pain in the butt. Ew, okay, here we go. Abadi, here we go.
Lovely. Look at this.
Deal.
I'm just lost on this. Like, I think my brain is a little tired. I don't know what we should do. If there's something we should try. It's the
investments. I mean, here's the thing. Like, you got to remember, this is a fintech company. Fintech companies don't make money. Like, that's not how they work. They sell equity. Amazon didn't make profits for 15 years. They were rolling in cash. They sell equity for money, and then you use that money to build a customer base with residual
and the platform that has future potential earnings, future potential profit.
I'm just saying I'm super lost on this last question on the business model. Here, the financial strategy. So
it's investment.
The investment is the important thing to have.
100%. You say they've already had $2.5 million in equity, and they have 350 coming in, and that's what we're
over the next 18 months. Yeah. That's it.
That's
right. And so that way, UNICEF is going to feel nice and cozy about the fact that their 100,000 little, not Benjamins. What's the $1 bill on?
George Washington's.
Who's on? Their 100,000 George Washingtons are going to a party where they're not going to be alone and it's going to suck. They're going to a party where there's already 2.5 million Washingtons rocking, and there's 350,000 Washingtons in the line trying to get in. And so this is a great party. It's going to be fine. You can send your 100,000 George Washingtons, and everything's going to be fine.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. Wait, so can I just get number 30? It's 2.5 million USD.
Yes.
Already?
Between 2015 and 2018, we have received equity investments for a total of squiggly bar $2.5 million. you know,
Okay, and
because
the predicted for the next 12 months is the 60% of 350.
Yeah, 350.
no. In the next 18 months, we are getting $350,000 in the door.
Yeah, that's why I said the next 12 months is 60% of 350.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went the long way around, but
Yes.
I think
Sorry.
okay, so how much is that? 200 and something?
Yeah.
Thousand?
Okay, hold on. 21, 210.
210. Okay, thank you. That was helpful.
And I have another one for you. So like they want us to project this project for 4 years, and I just want to like I pull a real Puma on this one. You know, it's like I put
Love Puma.
number of users after a year, about 1,000 on this platform. You know, that's including donors and stuff. Because we're not really trying to go. We only are going to run like 3 pilots, and then it's done.
That's fine.
Right?
It's perfect. Fine.
And then after year 2, I said that the next move. So basically, we'd be focusing on Mexican, child-focused Mexican charities for the first year, and then we would expand to general Mexican charities for the next year, and that we would have about 40,000 users.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The au pair is leaving, so I need to catch the kid ball back. They're sending the kid ball back to me in 10 minutes. So, and sorry, I need to. So, can you just repeat the top line of the last 30 seconds again? Because au pair came in and.
So first year child charities pilots. Second year we're full blown Mexican charities in general, and we're saying like 40,000 users. Is that reasonable?
Okay, I would change it to first year North child first year child care foundations in the Northwest, okay, of Mexico, right?
Okay.
Which, by the way, you and I, we know that really just means Castro Limón, Patronato Hospital de General Tijuana, and so the 2 that we already have, right?
Okay,
that's good. So we can make good on that, right? And then second year, I would say any and all of foundations in the Northwest of Mexico.
So stay Northwest Mexico.
Yes.
Geographically.
Yes. Stay geographically, open it up to any sort of foundation, not just childcare.
Yeah.
Right. Because, actually,
do you think 40,000 users in year 2 is?
Yeah, I mean, you can bring it down to 25,000 because I like the number 25. It comes out easier out of Puma. So 25,000, it's a bit more round. It's not too close to 50.
That's good when you're pulling it out of your ass. You don't want to be sharp.
Yeah, you got to be sharp. And you know the reason why you always want to use similar numbers? Because you got to remember Puma numbers that you've done in the past. So when in the future you continue to Puma, it doesn't break down. So I always use 25 in multiples of 25, right? And so, as you can see, I'm an experienced Puma guy.
Yes.
And so, in the third year, I would probably target all of Mexico childcare foundations. And this is actually, I'm Pumaing this because there's a real reason why that might happen. The largest foundation in all of Mexico, not by size of money, because I wouldn't be able to assert that because there might be a bigger one with money, but the largest brand recognized foundation in Mexico for childcare is called Teletón. Okay. Teletón is a foundation that's done by Televisa, which is the largest TV chain in Mexico. Actually, probably the largest TV channel and chain in Latin America by far, Televisa. So Televisa has the Teletón thing, which is precisely for children care across all of Mexico. Okay. And so there are a few connections already that can sit me down with the head of fundraising of that foundation. I have not wanted those connections to sit me down with that person because I don't really have anything concrete to show them yet. Right? Mm-hmm. And so the idea is to do this with Castro Limon, and then do it with Pasitos and Patronato Hospital General de Tijuana, which are the other two Northwest Children Care Foundations, right? And then it's working. Before I go to Teleton, I have to first opening it up to anybody in the Northwest so that I can deal with the bugs of volume coming in, 25,000 users, and any random small time foundation can just download the app and set everything up without me knowing them and helping them, as I am doing with Castro Limon and I'm doing with Pasitos, etc. Like, so by the time I think it's robust enough to cover any little foundation in Northwest, then I'm gonna ask my contacts to sit me down with the head of Teleton and say, look at what we've done. And then I'm gonna say, do you want it for all of Mexico? So then the third year would be all of Mexico, childcare only, because I'm not going to do it for all foundations in all of Mexico in the third. I'm just going to focus on Teleton. But Teleton, if we get Teleton on, then you're talking about 400,000 or 500,000 people.
How do you spell that? Teleton?
Telethon. Or actually, let me just find the link and send it to you. Teleton Televisa.
Telethon?
Yeah, say it all American.
Yeah,
no, it's not. Here, it's just teleton.org.
No H.
No H. Did you find it?
Great. Yep.
It's a heart with two little hands.
Oh.
Did you find it?
Charity event held in Chile.
No, then let me just send you the link. Here's a link. I put the link on.
Oh, there, he got it now.
Okay.
He got the heart with the hands. It honestly looks like hugging a butt.
Smack that ass.
Lorelai, I love what's in your brain.
Yeah.
I love the way you look at things, and I totally agree. Yes.
No, it's good to be me when you see the world this way.
Yes, it's much better to see it that way. Yes.
So we only have a few more minutes. What else?
Okay. What? So you said the 350K is already secured, or it's like promised?
Well, it's signed, and we're getting it month to month, 1/18 of it every month, and we've already gotten 2 months out of the 18 months. We've gotten September, October, and November already.
And the only thing that would jeopardize it is bad relationship with them, or
bad relationship or global financial crisis.
Okay. And okay, cool. I'm just trying to say it asks for action plans to secure secure the investment, which is basically just like maintain the relationship.
More than that, we are actually producing a large part of the quota development, not the to be determined name development. Large part of the quota development follows the strategy of this investment group, because this investment group that put in $350,000 is not just 350,000 Washingtons. These are like, imagine that we have this party with 2.5 million Washingtons, and people are sort of like getting tired and stuff. And the 350 that are coming in, they're like DJs and got all sorts of really cool things with them. So this is a group that has all of these towers and where they need the HMO admin. They need all these things. That the things that we've produced, they need them, and so they're also our main consumer now going forward. And so we are developing solutions for them, which is further securing the fact that they want to keep funding us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Okay. I have everything I need.
Okay.
So year 3, 400,000 users. Year 4, all of Mexico charity, basically, and 2.5 million users.
No. I think so. First year, Castro Limon, children based in Northwest,
Yep.
right? Childcare in Northwest. Second year, any foundations in Northwest,
Yep.
right? And maybe we want to make it more specific. We want to say Baja California. So first year, childcare in Baja California. Second year, any foundation in Baja California. Third year, childcare in all of Mexico,
Yep.
right? So by the third year, I'd say that would be Teleton. I would say we can do 250,000 users for sure with Teleton.
And
right?
then year 4, all of Mexico charities.
No, I would probably stay for 2 years with Teleton and just deepen Teleton. There's so much more opportunity. If we only have 250,000 users with Teleton in the first year, it makes no sense to go and look at other foundations yet. We have to keep working because Teleton has millions.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to take a lot to keep those users happy too. So,
And
So,
so
but by
I would.
the end of the 4th year, you don't think we're expanding to other more than just
I don't know. It's like we don't have to have
No,
an.
I wouldn't do that.
It
No.
doesn't have to look like this, you know. I think
No. So I would not do that because it makes no sense. If I can secure Teleton on the third year, then I'm gonna focus first on Teleton, and maybe I'll get 250,000 donors, which is great. But before I go and look at other foundations, I'm gonna tell all the other ones, I'm sorry, I can't. If you're not in Baja California, I can't help you, right? Move to Baja California if you just want to use it, right? But otherwise, in the rest of Mexico, I'm focusing on Teleton for 2 years because in the first year, maybe I can make 250,000, but they have millions. And so by the time 40, 50, 60% of the millions of Teleton donors are now using an app like mine, then it's time to open it up to anyone in Mexico, any foundation.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Sounds
So
great.
you could say that the fourth year, it's 500,000. For third year is 250,000 users. Fourth year is 500,000.
Yeah. So we go from 25x to 10x to 2x, which is fine. Just want to make sure because we go from 1,000 to 25,000, 25,000 to $250,000, and then just $500,000.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's the way things really work. There's an S curve, you go and then you sort of like growth at the end of the S curve is not that high anymore.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So you can't have exponential growth forever.
Yeah.
So so I'm gonna find the plataforma about space case. No, I'm gonna find this Excel with that we talked about and send it to you, Loie. Okay.
P&L.
Yeah, the forward-looking P&L. And just for context, that's the forward-looking P&L that we did back in September to discuss with this group that ended up investing $350,000, right? And so it is specifically focused on assuming we would only do quota for the next 18 months, how much it would cost us, and they're paying for that. And so that's about as specific as I have a spreadsheet right now.
Okay, that's fine. By back in September, you mean like 2 months ago, not a year ago?
Yes, because 2 months in entrepreneur time is an eternity.
Yeah.
Right.
And crypto too.
Yeah. And so yeah, I'll have I'll probably, Nacho has it. I can't find it on this computer. Nacho has it. I'll ask Nacho to just forward that one to you. Okay.
Awesome.
Actually, Marcos, you remember meeting Marcos?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if I met him.
I met him.
He usually sits on the left-hand side, on the other side of the long table from Nacho, in that corner, right before you go up the stairs.
Yeah.
He sits there with his back to the stairs.
Yeah.
The main stairs. Yeah. Anyway, I'll ask Marcos to send it to you. Okay.
Sweet. Thank you, Rafa.
And I assume, do you need that Excel, the one that is missing, by like now, or is Monday okay?
Monday is not okay.
Okay.
It would
So,
yeah, like
sometime in the next 8 hours, by the time you wake
yes.
up, you want that in your inbox, right?
Yeah. Perfect.
All right. So I'm gonna add Marcos to the Giveth a Libre Telegram and ask him to send you that.
Okay. Thank you.
Guys.
Much appreciation.
Yeah, thanks for spending so much time. Always fun chatting with you, Rafa.
I'm sorry if I sounded very much like, oh my God, but you now understand my frustration with
Absolutely, dude,
foundations.
I mean, I just wasted a week of my life fucking working on this. It's horrible.
And so you hope it's worth it for the money, and it's good if we get it because we can do this faster, meaning we can get to it faster. We can hire some people specifically for that.
But also, we were talking, the grant process has been really helpful for us, actually, because it's been quite a lot. It's like it's a business plan for Giveth 2.0 development. So
yeah.
it's an important exercise to do anyways.
Yeah, if nothing else.
And you know what, Griff? Remember when we were talking about like me, I'm able to help you. Like I would be able to help you to put some documents together to try and do fundraising. Fundraising from private investors is probably like 3 or 4 times tougher than this.
Yeah.
Right. Except there's one difference, which is really cool, which is these private investors understand the whole Puma thing. So they don't ask you bullshit questions like this. They don't have any of these forms, which actually makes it harder, because what you have to do is you have to see, I'm going to go see this person tomorrow. You have to think about all the direct questions that he's going to ask you that you better have a very straight answer for. And then the question that he asks you right now is going to be tied to the questions that he asks you 5 minutes later. And he or she is a very shrewd person because they've made millions over their lifetime. And so they're really, really shrewd. And if your answers don't line up, you're gone. You get no investment. No investment. That's it. It's over. Right? Yeah. So in the end, to be able to get money from private investors, you have to do the same thing of filling out all these forms, not to send them to UNICEF, but for yourself. You have to make these 60-month forward-looking P&Ls, and you have to think about all the assumptions that you're making, and then you got to make sure they all cross and they tell a story that you can defend, right? Going forward, right? Tell a story, a nice story with, with arcs, and it's, it's three movimientos, like a opera. It has 3, movements with their plot points and everything. And it's an S curve, because a real investor with real money that real companies will know that nothing grows exponentially forever. And so you can't just be like, so you got to be like, we're going to do this. And then by that time, we're going to topple. The way I explained these 4 years to you, right? That makes sense to an investor. But some entrepreneur who calls himself or herself an entrepreneur who doesn't have real experience will say, and once we do that, we can open it to everyone in Mexico and we can have 1 million users. It's like, no, you can't, right? You have to be strong within a small part. You have to be the king of your island, so you have enough strength to send a few troops to the next island.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's how we're going to do it. That's why we can't open up full Mexico. We got to focus on Teleton until we have 40 to 50, 60 people of the current Teleton users on the platform. then the growth potential to continue with Teleton is no longer there. We've already sort of like gotten everyone who's willing to, you know, to move to a digital platform to donate. And so by that time, and with the strength of being the platform of Teleton, we can just boom, go to the rest of Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And that's why that makes sense to an investor. Somebody who's used to looking at only pieces of paper and never actually made $1 million themselves and donated or invested 100,000 of that into a real company will want to see these bullshit numbers that go to the moon because they look good on paper, and then I can give the grant of UNICEF or Global Fund to this person who seems and talks great and talks bullshit numbers, and then allows me to say I've done my job because I'm sitting in Geneva, right? So in that's the reason why I don't like to look at grants, because they're almost just as much as work as an investor's money, right? They're a little bit less work than that, but I don't like them because in the end, they're not. You know Jan, right? Jan's my main investor in Libre, right?
Yeah.
I talk to him twice a year for an hour. And in
Yeah.
that hour, I got to prepare for about 2 weeks before I see him in that hour, right? Because in that hour, he's able to ask me questions that lets him know if I'm doing my job right.
Yeah.
And if I fuck it up in that hour, then everything's gone.
Yeah.
But at least I don't have some idiot who's pushing papers that every week is sending me stuff that I have to produce. I can just work, and then 2 weeks out of the year, I focus on getting all the numbers. I'm going to go see Jan, and then I prepare, and I have that 1 hour, and it's done. That's why I prefer investors and grants. So this is a very good start, right?
Yeah.
And that's my cue.
Yeah.
I love you guys. I
Love
hope
you
to
too,
see you
Rafa.
soon. Hope to see you soon in Tijuana. And let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Buenas noches.
Buenas
Okay.
noches.
Buenas
Ciao.
noches.